This video will introduce strings, and we'll do this by writing a program that gets the user's full name. So we can use a string to get the first name to start. So we'll say first name, and we can get that first name from the person. Alright, we've got IOStream, so for CN it'll be fine, and also the namespace standard for CN. So let's give this a compile and execute. And we say, what's my name? Alex. Here we go. Okay, seems fine. Let's see if we can output that first name as well. Compile. Oh, I got an error, line 13. Expected semicolon before return. So if I walk backwards, here I did forget a semicolon. Oops, that's an easy fix. Compile, Alex. There we go. Outputs my name. Cool. This is a good start. What else do we need? Well, I need to get my last name. So let's do that. Let's do last name. And we'll CN to get that last name. And finally, we'll output last name. I'm going to block these off a little bit. So we have two distinct groups of code. One is all about first name, and the second is all about last name. And we execute. We'll go Alex, and we'll go test for my last name. Test. Okay, that looks weird, but that's only because we're outputting the first name. It don't have any spacing before the last name. You know, I'm going to move the output of the first name to be after we get the last name. So I'm going to change the way these look, and I'll add a space between the first and the last name. So now we've got 3 blocks of code. One block is getting the first name, the second is getting the last name, and the third is outputting the full name. So we can compile, execute, Alex, test, and Alex test. There you go. That's not bad. We can do a little bit better just by adding some basic prompt. Your first name. And we can do the same for your last name. Okay, let's test. Alex test. Alex test. Okay, we can do a little nicer output here saying your full name. And I will add a new line at the end of the program so we don't have this overlap. Let's compile, execute, Alex test, and your full name Alex test. That's great. Now what if we wanted to simply have a single string that takes in the first name? So we just want to be able to write Alex test instead of having to individually write Alex and then test, because perhaps I have a middle name, or perhaps I have multiple middle names. So we'll be taking in now an entire name in one string. So I'm going to remove this code entirely, and let's do a string which is full name, and we will get the full name, and then we'll output the full name. Let's see how that works. Compile, and I'll say Alex test, and all we got as output is Alex. Why did this happen? Well, I have a theory, and the theory is that the CN is breaking up the input by the white spaces, which include spaces between the X and the capital T is a space, and that space is breaking up. And we can test that. I'm going to create full name 1, and I'm going to create a string full name 2. And watch what happens here. So this is full name 1, and we'll copy this again and have full name 2. Alright, let's watch what happens. I compile and execute, so I will say Alex test. See, there we go. It says Alex test. So the first input only got the first word, which was Alex. and then we output that first word, which was Alex. And the second cin got the second word, which was test, and we output test. To prove that point a little further, we can add an additional new line here, just breaking up the separate outputs, the couts. Here we can do Alex test. There we go, Alex test. Okay, so this is not behaving the way I would like it to behave. Here's what we need to do. I'm going to back step a little bit here, and we'll go back to using just full name as a string. What we want to use is getline. Getline is a function that we pass in cin and the string we would like to store the user entered line. And that, in this case, it'll be full name. And what getline does is it does not break up the spaces. It only breaks whatever you type in when you press the enter key. So for example, let's cout, and we'll just compile and execute, and I'll do Alex test. There we are. We have the full output Alex test. So that entire full name got put into the string full name, stored into the string full name, and that's possible because getline only breaks up input by new lines. Thank you.